There was a time when men valued silence, when wisdom was not measured by how much one spoke, but by how well one lived. Yet today we find ourselves in a world where everyone wants to be heard, but few desire to be understood. People chase after validation, seek approval, and display their lives for all to see. But let me tell you something. True strength is not found in the noise, it is found in the discipline of silence. You see, a man who constantly speaks is a man who has not yet mastered himself. The moment you feel the need to prove something to the world, you have already lost sight of your true mission. If you are truly strong, you do not need to say it. Your life will declare it. Your discipline, your work ethic, your quiet resilience, these will be your voice. A tree does not announce when it grows. It does not boast about its roots deepening, nor does it call for applause when it bears fruit. It simply does what it was created to do, and so must you. The greatest warriors do not spend their time talking about battle. They train, they sharpen, they prepare, and when the time comes, their actions speak for them. Some of you spend so much time explaining yourselves to people who do not even care, defending yourselves to those who have no right to judge. Stop. Walk in silence. Focus on your growth, on your discipline, on your purpose. Let them wonder, let them doubt, let them talk, but let them never find you idle. Remember, the most dangerous man is not the one who speaks of his power, but the one who has prepared in silence, the one who has built himself in the shadows, the one who lets his work, his actions, and his life do the talking. So I say to you, focus on yourself, stay silent, and when you do speak, let it be with wisdom, let it be with purpose, and let it be with truth. In a world that thrives on attention, where people measure their worth by likes, comments, and applause, self-discipline has become a rare virtue. We live in an age where everyone wants to be seen, but few want to be refined. People chase after external validation, craving recognition from the world, but in doing so, they lose themselves. The truth is, real power, real strength, and real success do not come from the opinions of others. They come from the quiet, unseen work of discipline. Discipline is the foundation of all greatness. It is waking up early when no one is watching. It is putting in the work day after day without seeking immediate results. It is denying yourself comfort and ease in pursuit of something greater. The world tells you that success is about being recognized, about being famous, about being known. But true success is built in silence. It is built in the moments when no one is clapping, when no one is watching, when no one is praising you. Look at the greatest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the strongest warriors. What do they all have in common? Discipline. They do not waste time proving themselves with words. They prove themselves through action. They do not rely on motivation, which fades, but on commitment, which endures. But what happens when you seek external validation instead of discipline? You become a slave to the opinions of others. You allow their approval to dictate your worth. You start performing, not growing. And the problem with this is that the applause of people is fleeting. Today they may celebrate you, tomorrow they may forget you. If your confidence is built on their approval, what happens when they no longer approve? The greatest enemy of self-discipline is the constant need to be seen. When you are always looking for validation, you are no longer working on yourself. You are performing for the crowd. But discipline requires solitude. It requires you to be alone with your struggles, to battle your weaknesses in silence, to train when no one is looking. This is why true power lies in quiet growth. The strongest trees are not those that grow the fastest, but those whose roots run deep. The most powerful men and women are not the ones who shout their accomplishments, but the ones who quietly build themselves until their success speaks for itself. Ask yourself, do you want to impress people for a moment, or do you want to build something that lasts? If your goal is lasting success, then you must embrace discipline over validation. Train in silence, work in silence, grow in silence, and when the time comes, your results will make the noise. Because at the end of the day, what matters is not how many people applauded you, but how well you disciplined yourself to become the person you were meant to be. Let go of the need for external validation, focus on your discipline, and let your life, not your words, be your proof. We live in a time where everyone wants to be heard, where people measure their importance by how loudly they speak and how many people listen. Social media, conversations, and even daily life are filled with people desperate to prove themselves, to show their worth, and to make their voices known. But the truth is, real strength is not found in speaking. It is found in knowing when to stay silent. A wise person listens more than they talk. They do not feel the need to respond to every insult, argue over every disagreement, or announce every success. Instead, they observe, they learn, they grow. When you listen, you gain understanding. When you remain silent, you develop patience. And when you refuse to boast, you cultivate humility. These are the marks of true strength. The world often mistakes silence for weakness. If you do not defend yourself against every critic, people assume you lack confidence. If you do not speak about your goals, people assume you have none. But the strongest individuals are not those who always speak. They are the ones who know that words are cheap, but actions are valuable. Think of the most powerful warriors. Do they walk around boasting about their skill? No. They train in silence, perfect their craft, and let their strength be revealed only when necessary. A lion does not need to announce that it is a lion. It simply acts. And so must you. Growth happens in silence. The seed that becomes a mighty tree does not make a sound as it grows. The strongest foundations are built underground, unseen, unheard. Likewise, your greatest progress happens when no one is watching. When you are alone, working, studying, training, developing yourself. This is where true transformation takes place. But in contrast, those who boast about their success often do so because they are insecure. They need the world's applause to feel important. They announce their plans not because they are confident, but because they need validation. Yet true confidence does not need to be announced. Reputation is what people say about you. Character is who you truly are. The world is obsessed with reputation, how you are perceived, how others judge you, and what they say behind your back. But reputation is fragile, temporary, and often built on illusion. Character, on the other hand, is what remains when no one is watching. It is the foundation of your life, the substance behind your words, and the truth that no man can take away. Many people spend their lives chasing reputation. They craft an image of success, of righteousness, of wisdom, because they fear the judgment of others. They work harder to be admired than to be transformed. But the problem is, reputation is not built on truth, it is built on perception. And perceptions change. The same crowd that praises you today can turn against you tomorrow. If you live for their approval, you will die from their rejection. God and your conscience know your true self. You can deceive people, you can put on a show, you can fool the world, but you cannot fool your own soul. Late at night, when the noise fades and the applause dies down, you are left with the reality of who you are. And if your character does not align with your reputation, you will live in torment. There is no peace for a man who wears a mask. Character is built in the unseen moments. It is the decisions you make when no one is watching. It is the way you treat others when there is nothing to gain. It is how you act when no cameras are on you, no crowd is cheering, and no one is there to praise you. A man of character does not live for approval, he lives by conviction. His actions are not dictated by public opinion, but by an internal compass of integrity, discipline, and truth. History is filled with people who had great reputations but weak character. They were admired in their time, but when the truth was revealed, their legacy crumbled. Likewise, history also remembers those who were misunderstood, slandered, or despised in their lifetime, but stood firm in their character. And in the end, their character outlived their reputation. So where is your focus? Are you living to impress the world, or are you building something deeper? Would you rather be known for being good or actually be good? Would you rather appear strong or truly be strong? If you focus on your character, your reputation will take care of itself. But if you chase reputation while neglecting character, you will one day be exposed. Do not fear what people think. Fear becoming someone who only looks righteous but is empty inside. When your life is over, God will not ask what people thought of you. He will ask who you truly were. So focus on what matters. Build your character. Strengthen your integrity. Live for truth, not applause. Because in the end, only one of these will stand. In a world where everyone wants to be seen and heard, many have forgotten that true transformation is never announced, it is revealed. We live in an age where people speak more than they act, where promises are louder than discipline, and where appearance is valued more than substance. But the truth is, words without action are nothing but empty noise. A man is not defined by what he says he will become, but by what his actions consistently prove him to be. Anyone can speak about change, anyone can declare their dreams and ambitions, but talk is cheap and promises can be made without sacrifice. Real transformation, the kind that reshapes a life, is not found in loud declarations. It is forged in the quiet, unseen work of daily consistency. You don't have to announce that you are becoming better. The results will show with time. The greatest evidence of growth is not in what you say, but in what you do when no one is watching. Look at the lives of those who have truly built something lasting. Whether in their character, their craft, or their faith, they were not men and women who spoke of their greatness before it arrived. They labored in silence. They worked while others doubted. They stayed consistent even when no one believed in them, and when the time came, their transformation spoke louder than any words they could have ever used. There is a reason why God works in silence. Seeds break through the soil without making a sound. The sun rises each morning without a single announcement. The greatest works of nature happen in hidden places. And the same principle applies to your life. You don't have to tell people you're changing. Just change. You don't have to explain your vision. Just build. You don't have to defend yourself. Just stay consistent. And in time, the truth will reveal itself. The problem with most people is that they want others to notice their transformation before it is complete. They want recognition without refinement. But true growth requires time. It requires seasons of isolation where no one sees the struggle, no one applauds the discipline, and no one acknowledges the sacrifice. This is where greatness is built, in the shadows, far away from the noise of applause. When you announce your intentions, you feed your pride. But when you simply act without seeking validation, you feed your purpose. The applause of men can make you feel important for a moment, but it is the unseen, disciplined life that will make you unshakable in the long run. Consistency is the mark of a transformed life, not bursts of motivation, not loud declarations, but daily obedience to the vision God has placed within you. Ask yourself, would you rather impress people for a day or become someone that cannot be denied? Would you rather talk about your dreams or wake up every day and build them brick by brick? The world does not need more voices, it needs more examples. Let your actions preach louder than your words. Let your consistency break the doubt of those who once mocked you. Stay silent, stay focused, and let time reveal what words never could. Because in the end, it is not what you say that will echo through eternity. It is what you did when no one was watching. One of the greatest traps in life is the pursuit of approval. Many people do not live for their convictions, they live for applause. They shape their decisions, their beliefs, and even their identity based on what others think. But the need for constant validation is a prison. It keeps you enslaved to the expectations of the crowd, forcing you to sacrifice truth for popularity and purpose for applause. When a person becomes addicted to approval, they lose sight of who they are. They no longer move with conviction, but with fear. Fear of rejection, fear of criticism, fear of being misunderstood. And so they live a life dictated by the shifting opinions of people rather than the unshakable foundation of truth. But here's the reality. No matter how much approval you seek, you will never satisfy everyone. People's opinions change like the wind. What they praise today, they will condemn tomorrow. If you build your identity on their applause, what happens when they turn against you? Seeking approval is dangerous because it makes you compromise. It causes you to silence your convictions when they are unpopular. It makes you change your values to fit in. It forces you to perform instead of grow. The truth is, the more you chase validation, the further you drift from your true purpose. Instead of walking the path that was meant for you, you start following the expectations of others until one day you wake up and realize you've lost yourself. History remembers the men and women who stood firm in their purpose, not the ones who tried to please everyone. The greatest leaders, the strongest warriors, the most impactful individuals, they were not concerned with winning the approval of the crowd. They did what was right even when it was unpopular. They pursued truth even when it cost them everything. And because of that, their legacy remains. But what happens to those who live for applause? They may receive it for a moment, but in the end they are forgotten because the world only celebrates you when you serve its desires. The moment you stop entertaining it, the applause fades. If your confidence is built on the cheers of others, what happens when the room grows silent? A life built on seeking approval is exhausting. You will always feel the need to explain yourself, to prove yourself, to impress people who do not even care about you. But a life built on truth is unshakable. It does not need validation. It does not need permission. It simply stands. So I ask you, are you living to be seen or are you living to be true? Do you want to be admired for a moment or do you want to walk in a purpose that lasts? Stop seeking applause. Stop living for the approval of people who will forget you tomorrow. Instead, seek truth, seek discipline. Seek a life that does not need validation because it is rooted in something greater. Because in the end, it is not the crowd's applause that matters. It is the strength of your soul when the world has nothing left to offer you. The words of a man reveal his discipline or his lack of it. In a world where people speak before thinking, where arguments are valued more than wisdom, and where the loudest voices often drown out the truth, the ability to control one's tongue is a mark of true strength. A disciplined man does not waste words. He does not speak to be heard. He speaks to bring wisdom, to add value, and to build others up. Many people believe that speaking often is a sign of intelligence or authority, but the truth is, the more a person talks, the more they expose their weaknesses. A wise man listens first, thinks deeply, and only speaks when his words serve a purpose. He understands that silence is not a sign of ignorance. It is a sign of mastery. It takes far more strength to hold back a careless word than to let it loose. The tongue is one of the most dangerous weapons a man possesses. It can build or destroy, heal or wound, lead or mislead. Those who do not master their speech often find themselves trapped in regret, having spoken words they cannot take back. How many friendships have been broken? How many reputations have been ruined? How many opportunities have been lost because of an uncontrolled tongue? A word spoken in haste can cause damage that years of effort cannot undo. A disciplined soul understands that not everything needs to be said. Just because you have an opinion does not mean you need to voice it. Just because you feel anger does not mean you need to express it. Just because you know something does not mean it is your place to share it. Speaking without restraint is a sign of immaturity. Wisdom is found in measured words. Even the strongest warrior does not swing his sword at every passing shadow. He knows when to fight and when to hold back. Likewise, a wise man knows when to speak and when to stay silent. He does not engage in meaningless arguments, nor does he waste time defending himself to those who refuse to understand. He chooses his words carefully because he knows their power. Mastering your tongue begins with mastering yourself. A man who cannot control his emotions will never control his words. If anger, insecurity, or pride rule over you, your speech will reflect it. But if you discipline yourself, if you train your heart, control your emotions, and cultivate wisdom, your words will carry authority, not just noise. So before you speak, ask yourself, is this necessary? Is this wise? Will this build or destroy? If the answer is uncertain, remain silent. Because silence in wisdom is far greater than words spoken in foolishness. The strongest men are not those who always have something to say. They are the ones who know when to remain silent and when to let their words be few but powerful. Let your discipline shape your speech, and you will be a man whose words are not just heard, but respected. In a world that constantly demands attention, where people seek validation, speak without restraint, and chase reputation over character, the true mark of strength is found in self-mastery. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. Restraint is not passivity, it is power. Those who focus on their character rather than their reputation, who seek truth instead of applause, who let their actions speak louder than their words, these are the ones who will stand firm when others fall. The disciplined soul does not live for approval. He does not waste words to impress, nor does he engage in meaningless battles to prove his worth. He listens more than he speaks, works in silence, and lets time reveal the truth. His strength is not found in loud declarations, but in quiet consistency. So I leave you with this: master yourself before you speak. Build your character in silence. Seek truth over applause. Let your actions be your testimony, and let your life speak louder than any words ever could. Thank you.